hacking to dedicate people to that type of a squad, although many officers are getting trained as crisis intervention officers who do respond to those calls.
And Paul, let me see if we can squeeze in one more quick question. Dave asks, why are cops who have resigned over wrongdoing or been fired frequently rehired by the police department or sheriff's office or state police department that they left, or by another city or county or state? Isn't that just as bad as qualified immunity? Paul, briefly before we go.
It's worse. The cop who shot 12-year-old Tamir Rice was fired in Cleveland, hired by another police department. Often police disciplinary proceedings are secret, so the public doesn't know. Sometimes other police departments know, but they don't care. The blue wall of silence means that officers look out for each other. We know that when an officer is fired and then rehired, he's twice as likely to be charged with misconduct. This is about transparency and accountability, Joshua. We're talking about people who are sworn officers licensed to kill.
All under the name of the blue law. You see what I'm saying? They cover up their own inadequacies. But yet now, whenever we the people make a mistake, or we the people get caught doing something that we're not supposed to be doing, oh, they want to put our front page, they want to put our face and our front page all over every newspaper agency that they got towards discriminating us publicly in front of everybody. But yet now, whenever they do something, they cover it up, and it's not known to the general public. And most of the time, whenever a police officer changes from one precinct to another or from one agency to another, they'll tell everybody, well, I've done it for more money. I've done it for more money. Yeah, did you really do it for more money? Or did you do it because you messed up? You done something that you wasn't supposed to have done, and because they reprimanded you and you was fixing to lose your job, you decided to hire on somewhere else. See, that's what they do. They toss the ball around with these bad officers. And they keep it discreet from the general public. That way the general public don't know how many times that they've bashed somebody's head in, or how many times that they've lost their cool and they couldn't control their anger management issues, or they just done something just totally off the wall, just totally crazy. Keep in mind the human characteristics of this occupation stands to reason that these people are people too. And they're going to make mistakes. The thing that the protesters are trying to make a clear understanding in of the crisis here in America is that these officers that make these mistakes should be disciplined, not only amongst the department, but they should be disciplined the same way that we the people are disciplined towards bringing shame and approach into the eyes of the general public. And if you was to do that, I repeat, and if you was to do that, I feel like that these officers would be more or less likely to abuse their privileges to the point of them becoming abusive or doing something that they shouldn't have never done to begin with, because they knew or know that even though they got a blue law to protect them, their boo-boo is still going to be known before the people. And we're not just talking about the people that they live with or the people that they reside with as far as their immediate family. We're talking about the general public in general. I truly believe that if the court system in Weakley County would have known what the police officers was up to there in Martin, Tennessee in 2005 towards trying to jeopardize my credibility even more so by trying to promote me as me being a homegrown terrorist simply because of me telling a clerk at a convenience store that I was probably going to wind up on the Channel 6 News because of the controversy that was going on in my life. I truly believe that if the court system would have known that, they would have reprimanded the police officers that was engaged in trying to do such of a thing like that. But instead, I hire an attorney to defend me, and I had to plead guilty just to get it to roll off my back, in which it never gets rolled off your back. They keep these things on record, and they use it against you if you ever have another boo-boo. To where if the cops make a boo-boo, they cover it up. Out of sight, out of mind. They bury it. What is fair play about that? Talk about damned if you do and damned if you don't. Talk about do as I say but not as I do. Talk about a system that works under the pretense of full of hypocrisy. That is a system that works under the pretense of nothing but hypocrisy. Whenever you're going to shame the citizens for basically making the same type of mistakes that your police officers is making. In other words, your police officers is out here busting people for the same thing that they're engaged in doing. Drinking and driving, smoking weed, getting high, losing their cool, not controlling their temper. You got police officers out here that's engaged in wanting to reprimand the general society, but at the same time, the police officers don't get shamed openly like the citizens do because they got a blue law. We got us a blue law that protects our inadequacies. I truly believe that if the court system would have known, either that or the court system itself was in behind trying to diminish, destroy my integrity by trying to promote me as me being some sort of a homegrown terrorist. And that's a real strong possibility in my case, that the court system itself pertaining to the lieutenants and the people, the upper people that's in control of the system, going all the way up to the governor's office, are corrupt themselves, and they know that they're trying to corrupt a particular individual. They're trying to stain and make that individual look bad, and because of it, then it becomes a movement. It becomes a conspiracy. And I'm going to use Buford Pulser here in the state of Tennessee as an example. Buford Pulser was a bad cop. Buford Pulser used various techniques that wasn't considered normal or considered graceful, even at the time that Buford Pulser was doing what Buford Pulser was doing. But yet no, Buford Pulser was cleaning up the county. Because Buford Pulser wasn't picking and choosing, and he was not selecting who he was reprimanding and who he wasn't reprimanding, and because Buford Pulser reprimanded the wrong people in the wrong county, that's whenever they put the word out on Buford Pulser, hey, we can't put up with this. This has got to stop. And that's whenever basically a hit was formed against Buford Pulser that started at the top, at the governor's office. That they was going to make sure that they put him out of business, one way or the other. And that's exactly what they done. They shut him down. They shut his program down. They done the exact same thing to Martin Luther King. They didn't like what Martin Luther King was preaching. They didn't like what Martin Luther King was doing. Martin Luther King done stepped on too many toes. Done frisked up too many feathers. Done the same thing to JFK. And Bobby Kennedy, that was obviously making too many people mad. And if we don't watch, the very same thing is likely to happen, or could possibly happen. I hope that it don't happen to Mr. Donald Trump, because Mr. Donald Trump has went in towards wanting to clean the plow, drain the swamp. And anytime you get engaged in doing these type of things, you're going to make a bunch of people angry. You're going to dissatisfy a bunch of people. And the next thing you know, Secret Service's job gets a whole lot harder. Because now Secret Service don't know who to protect, don't know who to trust pertaining to protecting the president, and because of it, they basically got to build a fortress completely around the president. And I'm just not talking about a physical fortress. I'm talking about a psychological fortress. I'm talking about a physical fortress, a political fortress. It makes Secret Service's job twice as hard in trying to protect somebody like this, because obviously this president is making people angry. It would be the same thing if a sheriff come into the county and all of a sudden he was going to clean the county up. We're going to get rid of all this homegrown marijuana. We're going to get rid of all these methamphetamines. We're going to get rid of this. We're going to get rid of that. People that's working under the table, working for cash. We're going to get rid of this. We're going to get rid of the people that's abusing their children or allowing their children to be exposed to this or be exposed to that. I guarantee you, if that sheriff is elected twice, it will be a miracle if he truly comes in to do his job. Now, if he comes in, as Mike Wilson has come in, and everybody patronizes the situation towards allowing for this stuff to go on pertaining to certain individuals that's cherry picking. Well, we're going to let this one get away with growing his weed, but this one over here, if we so much as even see him with a gram of pot, you're going to jail, Buster, because we don't like you anyways. So in my situation, it's very, very possible that the whole corruption begins at the top and goes down to the bottom, because you got to face it, whenever I was involved in a political affair in 1988 with 9 tapes going to the White House, that didn't start from the bottom to the top. It actually started from the top to the bottom, towards falsely accusing me of this and falsely accusing me of that, and trying to promote me as this and trying to promote me as that. The system is tainted. The system itself is rotten. And until you get rid of the people that's supposed to be in charge of making sure that this stuff don't go on, you're probably going to have major protesting, because what you basically have in America is a crisis on top of a crisis pertaining to all the corruption and the abuse. It's really sad. It's sad that we're involving ourselves in conversations that they had back in the 60s that now we're having in 2020. It's so sad. Thanks again, and good luck to all of us. Shalom.